16. Went to a party. And in those days you had to party and you were partnered. Who did they partner me off with? Cole. Didn't like him to start with. Didn't like him. Danny wasn't invited to the party, but he knew. Well, it was Cole's cousin, and he was wandering around the streets that particular day, and Cole said to him, "Where are you going?" So he said, "I don't know. My friend Jack went to Southend, and Danny used to work on a Saturday late." He said, "Didn't wait for me, so he said, if you've got nothing to do, come and meet to the party. They won't mind." So then he went with Cole to the party, and I was supposed to be partners with Cole. But I didn't like him. But I fancied Danny more. I like him. So that's how we started. He must have been about 17, a year older than me. And that's how it started. After the party, I think the whole lot got together, went on some scramble, still partnered with him, and then I don't know how it happened, and we started going out together separately. Just like that. Went to a cinema, yeah, but I still had an old boyfriend I was still seeing. You wouldn't know. When I worked at the Government British Studios in Regent Street, and this fellow, he worked in Beak Street, Beak Street opposite, where the Lawleys was, Beak Street. And I met him at this party, and we went out together about 6-7 months. And I don't know what happened, and he said to me, "You never find anybody to love you like I love you." I remember that, quite clearly. He wasn't bad. I don't know why we didn't get on. Funnily enough, I took my mother to the hospital a couple of years ago, and I was sitting there and I saw him go by. He must have been going to see a doctor. And I got a picture of him. One day I'll find it's got "Your loving Sam." If I ever come across it, that was my first regular boyfriend. He's wearing a dinner suit. Who wore a dinner suit then? And I was invited to Cousin Joe's bar mitzvah, and I was allowed to take a partner. And I took him, and he came with his dinner suit on. Everything. They thought I was going to get married already. The first time I went to the West End cinema, and just shows what a schmeral I was, he bought me a lovely box of chocolates, and I said I didn't think to open the box of chocolates and offer him one. I took them home. My mother said, "Why didn't you open and give him a chocolate?" The first time I'd been to the pictures, bought me a box of chocolates, didn't know what to do with it. I was so naive. I went out with him again, yeah. Yeah, I went out with him quite. Why did we break up? Friends. He had a friend that broke it up. Danny was a bit different. He was quite good looking, Danny. And, except his father didn't like me, I was a mashimecha. Years ago, if the Sephardi boys went out with what's the name, Yiddish girl, they were mashmechas, as they're called mashmech. The parents didn't like their son's going out with a mashimecha, but they learned that when they started going out with shiksas, they were glad to have the mashimechas coming in. His mother was very docile, but his father, and yet, as I got older, I understood. His father came from a very, very wealthy family. He eloped. My mother-in-law, Danny's mother, was the servant in the husband's family. They were a wealthy family, and they eloped. So after that, he never saw his family after that. But the uncle that lived in Pennard Road, he was like the patriarch of all the poor Sephardis, and he found them somewhere to live. She had 9 children, don't forget. And Danny was the eldest. And I remember Danny got very upset. There was Julie Cohen, you wouldn't remember her. She said that Tiracher, that's Danny's mother, she has babies like the cat has kittens. Because he's one of 9. And his father wasn't he came from a wealthy family. They disowned him when he eloped with Danny's mother. They didn't see him after that. They eloped from Sri Lanka into England. And the one uncle that lived in Pennard Road, he was like the patriarch of all the poor people. And he found them a flat and they lived together in Pennard Road, Shepherd's Bush. And he found him a little shop, a barber shop, And Danny's father couldn't do anything. He used to say they'd just take the money. And after he learnt to get them ready for a shave. So he had a barber. Yeah, Church Street, Shoreditch. And he used to stand at the door and welcome people in and taking the money. That's all. He couldn't shave or do anything. Danny wanted to do hairdressing. His father objected, but Daddy had an uncle. Lived in. I can't even remember. Not a real uncle. I think his wife was something to do with the family, and he was a hairdresser in the West End, and he sympathised with Danny. Danny wanted to be a hairdresser. His father said didn't want him to be, but this uncle, can't remember his name now, he took him under his wing and got him somewhere apprenticed. Funny how things work out, isn't it?